8 found dead could result in a lot of pools of blood. That is in the movie. But how many pools of blood did you get for the review? We will see at the end. But as always, we will start off here with the IMDb plot. Two couples take a weekend getaway in the middle of the desert, only to discover that their Airbnb is already occupied. Not good. It's a long and bloody night told from 4 points of view. Okay, so 8 found dead. I was sent the screener for, to just be a disclaimer here. And I believe this is still in festivals or going around festivals. I'm not sure what the release information is for it. But if it comes across and I get that information, I most likely would share that through Promote Horror. But with that, I will make this fairly spoiler-free, which is a little hard here because to be completely spoiler-free is to not say much about the situation that's at hand here. But I will try my best. So, as it kind of mentions here, you're going to get a couple of couples, and that's the point of view that we're going to get here. And what you kind of see is them in segments, and you're going to introduce to one couple, and one of them, the woman is a influencer, and she's posting a lot of stuff, I guess, on Instagram, and that's kind of how she gets her money, how she's kind of gets along, and she has a boyfriend who might not be totally sold on this influencer thing, but just kind of goes along with it, and he's there. And then you have another couple who are on the way there, but they may have some issues amongst themselves and how they feel about this other couple that they're going to meet there. Apparently there's some history there and so forth. So while they're going out to this Airbnb, you're going to get a little introduction to these two pairs of couples, learn a little about them, and then what they kind of think about the other couples. And like I said, the couple that's not the influencer one, the boyfriend there, they're both boyfriend girlfriend from what I gathered. He knows a little bit of information why this meeting is, or they're going out to this house to have this get together, and it's the woman who's the influencer who's kind of set the situation, and he doesn't really spill the beans until they kind of get there. So there's a little tension in with both couples, but for that fact between those two. So you already have two couples here. You already have a little bit of tension as they're going into this house. And you're going to get introduced to a third couple, and this couple is a couple of cops, and they apparently were married for X amount of time, and are basically have been separated for some time, and the woman wants to kind of finalize this and get a divorce, while the man is just kind of holding on, and while he kind of is there in the separation, he might not be so quick to wanting to sign those divorce papers or even go down that road. So they are going to be the cops that are involved here in this situation, and you're going to get introduced to them in a separate situation. Like I said, you get to see each couple separately, and so you're going to see these cops separately too, and you're going to kind of see them and the guy cop, he's a little bit of an ass and so forth, and the woman seems kind of smart, but I think in the end of the day you'll find that they also might not be the best cops, or at least not the best cops together. And I think their involvement basically is once they're going to get radioed to this house that something has happened at this house, and they need to respond. So that's going to be their kind of involvement in the story. And then you have the final couple. So couple number 4 is the couple that's already in this house, and why they're in it, who they are, whatever, nobody knows, but you're gonna get introduced to them, and you're gonna get introduced to them basically when they meet the first couple that arrives, and then they're gonna meet the other couple that arrives, and so that is kind of what you're gonna have going on there, and what kind of plays out, and like I said, I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but you're going to see things at different time periods. So you're going to see, like I said, and the couple that's already there in the apartment, they're older than either the two other couples and even the cops. So they kind of, are going to be portraying themselves a little bit in some similarities, but some differences when they meet each of the two couples. Now, the cops are going to come later on, but as they meet these two couples and meet them separately, they're going to be presented kind of in a similar but different way, and they're going to approach each couple, a little bit different in the way that they talk to them and deal with them and so forth. And basically, when all these the older couple come together with each pair, obviously the other pair is going to be like, hey, what are you doing in this place that we're supposed to be staying at? And then there's, that kind of argument. So, there's also going to be a little of that, how much do you trust, how much do you not trust them? For those who might have seen Barbarian, it's kind of that same thing when the girl shows up at the door and the guy's already there, and she's like, well, why are you here? I'm supposed to be here. And so you have that, trust issue, who really belongs, and so forth there. And then, they're going to give you flashes of who's dead. The movie's entitled A Found Dead, so I'm not going to, I don't think it's a big spoiler here. Obviously, some of the people here are going to end up dead. Who is going to end up dead? I think it's one of the fun things about this movie is you as you watch it, the title, you see how many people there are in the movie, and you start counting. It's like, okay, so that means, this person might live, that person might, who's going to make it out of here? That kind of as it goes, they're not going to totally hide that. I mean, obviously, when it kind of gets towards the end and dwindles down, then it's kind of okay, well, who's going to make it out here? But before that, they don't do too much to hide it. They're going to kind of give you they set up the situation. Like I said, it's going to jump. It's going to jump to one couple's relationship with the old ones and the other couple's relationship with the older couple, and then back and forth. And then kind of sprinkled in there, you're going to see, who is going to survive and who's not. And then they're going to carry on, so you kind of get that, okay, so how did they get to that point? So you have a lot of things to look forward to in this movie as it kind of goes on. It's, who's going to be, left in the end, and then, once they kind of show you who died, how did they get to that point of their death? So, they're not really hiding that. They I guess know that the audience knows that somebody's going to die, so they show you that death, and it's just a matter of, okay, let's drag this on a little bit, and then you see how that person died. And sometimes when you see that person die, maybe you have some expectations of, okay, they died in this way, so, this and that's going to happen, but maybe it didn't turn out exactly like that. So, a lot of little different wrinkles going on here. So I thought, that was fun, knowing the count and then seeing, kind of guessing who was going to do it, and then seeing the deaths and then seeing how, that person ultimately ends up dead. And, that was fun. The two couples, I think, they were fine. You kind of, got what you needed out of them, and, that, they really cared for each other, but, they obviously had their issues, so it's very, kind of realistic. One of the person's situations is really sad, and gets even sadder. And the cops, I thought, that was a little bit more of a, even though their situation is sad being divorced, I thought that was a little bit of maybe a little bit of comic relief in them. They, like I said, as you're getting towards the end, and who is it that's going to survive this. I think they do a good job of kind of keeping that twist, or keeping you on your toes, and not making it as obvious. They do a little, like I said, this movie's going to jump in time, and they are going to jump a little bit backwards, towards the end, and you're going to see a certain other thing happen, and then you're going to be like, oh damn, sucks. Sucks for that person. But yeah, I like that. I don't usually like too much jumping around, but I thought this worked. It worked. The way they laid everything out here worked. There's another person I did not mention that opens the movie, and that person it doesn't play a huge role in the movie. But that brief part is kind of fun, and kind of takes you back to, it gives you a little bit of a slasher moment there, and that's a little kind of fun throw in, to kind of break you away from everything else that's going on. But yeah, I liked the way they pieced everything together, and how they kind of went back and forth without, I don't think they drove you totally crazy, and then kind of kept you thinking. It was really thinking. Like I said, you're going to see somebody dead. How did they die? You're going to think which couple kind of arrived when, and who's hiding what from who, and that was kind of interesting. And then the ending is pretty intense. And then I think one of the best things about this is the older couple that's in the house. Just the way that they are, who they are, the way they're portrayed, how they interact with the other couples. They just do a fabulous job. And it's not necessarily that they're necessarily creepy or scary or this or that. I just think the way they interact, sometimes they're their age, sometimes they're not. They can, kind of bring it to the age of the other couples. Just the way they're interacting, and they're just basically fair game. It's not, they're just not an older couple that has, like certain values, where they're fair game to anything. They will say bad things. They will say good things. They will, be touching in certain moments, and bring the other couples to their side, and then they'll be mean and say mean things, or laugh at things that maybe they shouldn't laugh at. They're just really fantastic in this movie. And I guess, that's enough to be said about them, but they do a really good job. So, I'm glad I took a shot at this one. Again, being a festival film, or one that I really hadn't heard about until they sent me a press release for it. I'm glad that I opted to check this out, because I really enjoyed it. I really did. So with that, I'm going to give it 3.5 pools of blood. Like I said, I don't know, and that is out of 5. I don't know the release information for this, but certainly if they let me know, or if it comes around and I catch it, I will let you guys know. If you happen to see that it's coming to a festival near you, and that you're going to, I definitely recommend that this is one that you add to your slate. I know that there's always the big ones, or certain ones that you may obviously want to see to start, but then there might be others that you're not as familiar with, so this might be one. But so if you see it, 8 Found Dead, I definitely think you should jump on it and give it a watch. So with that, again, 3.5 pools of blood out of 5. And with that, horrorsgorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews, written and video. But if you're just interested in the video reviews, subscribe, like, all the things that everybody wants you to do. If not, no worries. You can always check out the written reviews on the blog. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. Reach out to me. If you want to see if I know what's going on with this film at a certain point, feel free to reach out to me there. Or down in the comments section. If you have been one of the few that have seen this movie, I'd be interested to see if you liked it as much as I did, and your thoughts on this whole setup and the way they played it. And with that, I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.